The Boys was developed by Eric Kripke. Of course, it is also based on the adult comic book series created by Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson. It is now back for its 4th season. It recently concluded. All the episodes coming out on Amazon Prime. All 8 episodes are now out. And this new season seems to be really focusing on our main crew of characters, the Boys, as you could call them, trying to take down everything that VOT stands for, everything that the 7 stands for, all of their lies and manipulation that they have inflicted on the public and on themselves as well, on each other, fellow colleagues and all. It seems like they're just trying to but take it down completely, for lack of a better word, as opposed to previous seasons where it was like, let's just go after Homelander, or let's just go after this person, yada yada. They're trying to go after everything, just all of it. And like with the 3 previous seasons, this once again has a lot of material jam-packed into only 8 episodes, but they're about an hour in length, incredibly fast-paced as usual. It does not miss a beat with each episode. There's always a lot of stuff going on, a lot of just chaos ensuing. Even though with this season in particular, I would argue there were a couple episodes that maybe didn't matter as much in the grander scheme of things. Filler, you could even put that label onto them. But even those episodes still were busy and kind of crazy. Compared to the previous 3 seasons, this one did take me a little while to get into the flow of things, where our characters are, what the premise is that they're setting up. Once again, there is a significant jump in time from the end of the previous season to the beginning of this current one. It took me a moment to really get into the season and be comfortable with where they were going. I would say about episodes 3 through 5 was a very good streak of episodes, and I was getting more into it by that point in the show. I was enjoying myself at first, but I was just a little off-put with how things started and how the show was just presenting itself in its first couple episodes. But then, like I said, 3 through 5, nice little streak there. And then, especially, I would say the finale was great and ended things on a very strong and surprising note. There were a couple episodes that, for me, were just a little bit awkward, though, and not as well done, and really are kind of some of the weaker episodes of the entire show as a whole, such as the first episode, which I didn't mind, but it did some weird things with some of the main characters and some of the changes that they seem to have gone through. Some things feeling rushed too with some of the characters. I would point to Frenchie and Huey especially. And episode 6, Dirty Business, was just not that good of an episode in my opinion. The title, of course, you could imagine some of the stuff that happens. We're not stranger to dirty stuff showing up in the show, let's say. And you get a lot of that, but unfortunately that's sort of like the star of the show, and the main mission that our characters are going on kind of takes a backseat to the shock factor of the images that are seen in this episode. It had worked in the past for me, but with this particular episode, it just didn't land as well. The jokes also fell a little more flat more often. If I am continuing to elaborate with my negatives with this season, there was that one episode that to me was just filler, and some of the decisions they make with the characters feeling kind of sudden and forced. I had seen a comment relating to this season about it like going woke and sort of writing these characteristics and attributes for some of the characters to appeal to a wider audience. And I can't disagree with that. It definitely felt like they were trying to write in things for the characters that would maybe make them more relatable to more of the audience watching the show. Like I was saying with Frenchie, I think especially sort of fit that mold that I'm describing with what they were doing in the writer's room. But I will say, wasn't a fan of what they were doing with this character initially, but I did like the direction they went with Frenchie in this season. I could have used a little more development for it, but overall I did enjoy the writing for his character by the end considerably more than I did at the beginning of the season. Continuing to talk about some of the other characters in the show, I was slightly let down by what they did with Kimiko. Speaking of Frenchie, I wish they had done a little more diving into her backstory. We only got like a little hint, a little sliver of it at a certain point, but I kind of wanted more from that. She still is awesome, still one of my personal favorite characters, so I'm always happy to see what they do, where they go next with her. But I just wanted a little more development and fleshing out of her character. I loved though what they did with Homelander in this season and the dynamic that was portrayed between him and his son, which feels like it's just constantly changing. It's like a new back and forth, new sort of banter that they share with each other pretty much every episode, and I just liked how they did that and how Ryan seems like he's becoming a little more like him with each episode, but then other times he's not so much. It goes down a very unpredictable route with him, especially with Wisdom of the Ages episode 4, going back to just Homelander here. I loved the subplot with his character in that episode. I will say I didn't care as much for everything else that was going on, but anytime it was on him, it was very good, very entertaining. And of course, Anthony Starr continues to be excellent as this character. Beware the Jabberwock, My Son was also a pretty fun and enjoyable episode, a standout for me personally. Episode 5 of the season, by the way. Kind of a fun concept that they had going on. Some not great CGI, I will say, but it was cool, and the conception that they realized in the episode was, like I said, it was just fun. And then the subplot revolving around Kiwi's character in this episode works for me a lot better than other things they were doing with Huey up to the season, up to this point in the season. I mean, very good stuff, very emotionally rich material too that they present with this subplot. And then the finale titled Assassination Run, although on Amazon it was changed to the season 4 finale because of some events that happened recently. We don't need to talk. I think we all know why they would have changed that title. An insane final episode, in my opinion. I would still hold season 2's finale above it slightly, but this, I think, is definitely right there with it. This was really, really strong way to end the season. And the way it actually ends, man, just has me wondering where they're gonna go next. I don't know. I can't believe we have to wait 2 years. Who knows, what could happen. I don't envision there being a big time jump, though. I don't know how other people feel, but I feel like we'll probably pick up the 5th season pretty shortly after where this one concluded. A slightly inconsistent season overall, going from episode to episode, but the highs were very high, and looking back, I did appreciate the structure and the pacing of the season more now, having finished it while it was coming out, while I was watching the episodes. I was confused with how they were doing it and helming the pace of the season, but it does work better now reflecting on the season as a whole. There are other things I want to talk about, of course. It's one of those shows where there's so many characters and just so many things that happen that it's tough. I want to talk about it, but I also want to keep this review concise and not too cluttered and all over the place. If I do a review of season 5 when it comes out in a couple years, also if I still have this channel, I don't know, maybe I won't, we'll see. But I'll definitely talk about like the series as a whole as well, and I'll get to more of the characters then for sure. I was happy with how this season turned out, though. I think it's quite good. I would rate it an 8.5 out of 10. As far as favorite episode goes, for me it would have to be that finale, Assassination Run. Awesome episode. And I do think that a couple years from now, once The Boys has concluded, people will appreciate this season more because it's pretty divisive right now among fans, and I could see more people coming around to it. Sort of feels reminiscent about what I was saying with The Bear and a reaction I made to The Bear's recent season, where I do think that people will definitely come around to that more and appreciate the unorthodox structure of that season. And later, once more episodes and more seasons come out, and I think it'll be pretty much the same here with this 4th season of The Boys. So if you have finished The Boys season 4 by now, I would love to know your thoughts on the season and how you think it compares to the rest of the show, or if you have a favorite episode. I'll be honest, this is easily my least favorite season, but I still clearly really enjoyed it, and I think that most people will. If you like The Boys up to this point, I still think you'll enjoy what they have to offer. But that's all that I have to offer for this video. And I'll see you guys in my next video, whenever that comes out. Peace out.